Dear viewers, welcome to yet another edition of Your Life, Your Money. This Friday, I am going to talk to you about what can you do about funding of children's education costs. Should you set aside certain amount of money, or is it better for you to take an education loan? This is NRI Money Clinic for you, and I am Dr. Chandrakant Bhatt, your financial guide for a happy living.
NRI Money Clinic. No hype, just the right advice.
Dear viewers, it's a changing phase of society. The way the family life used to happen in the past and the way it is happening now is completely changed. During our times, that's about 35 years before, people used to get married immediately after graduation. They find a job, they settle down, and they immediately start with the family responsibility. People used to get married, let's say between 22nd to 25, 26, at the most 27 years of age. By that time, they are settled in life. Probably by 25, 27 years of age, they had their first child in the family. But that's not happening anymore. Today, people still find job in their early 20s, but they don't get married. They spend 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, depending on their circumstances, whether they move into another country, another place, the career path. They take time, and probably at 30 years plus or minus 2 or 3 years, they get married. And thereafterwards, there is another gap of 2 to 5 years, depending on individual family preferences, to have when they should have the child. If they get the first child in their early 30s, probably they'll spend another 3-5 years before they have the second child. This is the normal course of events that is happening in most of the families. Now, this sequence of event creates various conflicts, and unless we understand these conflicts, we will not be able to provide proper solution. If children arrive late in the family, in their early 30s or somewhere in the 30s, add another 15 to 20 years for that age. That is when your children are going to college or they are about to go to higher education, which only means to say you are staring at retirement when your children are going to college. You are in direct conflict. You are passing through a very high expense period between age 50 and age 60, where you have to plan a lot of things for your retirement days. At the same time, your children are going to the college and they need colossal amount of money, and you are in direct conflict. So it does create a conflict. Unless you are well prepared for this conflict, how you resolve, how you are prepared, and how you can plan for it, many families will get into a financial disaster if they don't know what the consequences will be like. Let's look at this particular problem a little bit in detail. In the early phase of your career, you are married now, you are in the early phase of career, you are working, maybe or may not, your wife may not be earning member of the family. Nevertheless, you are in the early phase of career, which means to say your salaries are not that high. You have to do a lot of things. It's the early stage of setting up the family. You need money for a lot of activities that you want to do. You have to set up a house, you need gadgets, you need a fridge, you need a car. Probably you have a plan to buy a house, you need to travel, you are an aspirational generation, you have limited resources of money and multiple things to do. When the child arrives in the family, the need for education funding will come to the perceived level. It is called the perceived need. You feel it. You are overwhelmed by the emotion. You are a happy family now. You see the face of the child, and need for building funds for education of your child comes to a perceived level. It's called the perceived need. At the same time, you have another need. That need answers to the question of retirement planning. But you will never pursue that. That will remain as latent. It is called a latent need. A latent need is that you have a need, but you do not perceive it. It is at a latent stage. You will pursue the retirement cash flow generation only when you reach 45, 50 or 55 years of age, where the retirement days are very close to you and you can stare at that. In the beginning phase of your career, you will not feel it, and this can create a direct conflict with your resources. Should I allocate it for education funding? Should I allocate for retirement funding? This is one aspect of the problem. The other aspect of the problem is, because the marriages are getting delayed, what happens in the lives of the children? Now these children will find a job in their early 20s, soon after their graduation, masters or whatever it is. They get a good salary, decent amount of salary. Now they don't need parental care. They have cash in their hands. They don't have any other responsibility like setting up a family, children, wife, nothing is there. So imagine a situation where they're passing through a orbit changing phase. Suddenly they are out of their parents' control and they don't have a responsibility of the family. Your children are likely to get into wrong habits in life. A wrong habit need not be a drinking or the bad habits what we normally talk about. The wrong habit could be believing in trading. They may become victims of the trading in cryptos, or they can become a victim of all that advertisement that comes on YouTube. You trade your ways to riches. So they may take futures and options, commodity trading, currency trading. All these things can create a debilitating situation in the lives of your children. So these are the two problems you face because of this changing phase of the society. Both these problems have one single answer, and that answer is, if you are able to plan funding of education cost using the education loan, both the problems that will arise, the conflict between the child education plan and the retirement plan, as well as keeping your children in good check when they start earning money, both can be achieved when you resort to education funding of your children through a education loan. Now let's examine how both these problems can be solved. Now let us look at the advantages of taking an education loan to fund the education cost. The first advantage is, because you have a recourse to education loan to fund the cost, the conflict between retirement planning and the education funding of the children can be resolved. You can start retirement planning very early in life. If you don't have this idea of taking an education loan, then always child education being your pursued need, your focus will go towards funding of children's education. You start saving money towards that and you conveniently forget retirement planning. As an outcome of it, when you retire, you may not have sufficient enough funds to support your retired life, and you may have to take help of your children, and that's not a situation to be very comfortable for any respectful parent to be in. So select education planning, thereby you can allocate resources quite comfortably to retirement planning. Government also has got a lot of schemes today. We have done detailed videos on how you can take education loan, what steps you have to take, when it should be taken, who can get the loan, who cannot take the loan, what collaterals are required, what is the rate of interest, and how education loans can be cleared, how long the government or the banks will allow you to repay this loan. There are detailed videos that we have done. I will add these videos in the card section here as well as in the description box. If you are interested, you can click on those links and know the nitty-gritties of taking education loan for your children. See, when you take an education loan for funding children's education cost, you have to remember one thing. You have to sensitize your children and tell them the responsibility of clearing the education loan is not that of the parent. It is not a temporary mechanism that I don't have the money, I'll take a loan and before I retire I'll clear. That's not the whole solution here. The solution here is, you are taking an education loan, you are standing as a guarantor for this loan, but the responsibility of clearing this loan should be given to your children. Thereby, when they get a job, they have no other responsibility. They have got cushy salary, or they have a salary for which they have no other expenses except their personal expenses. They should make use of this first 5-7 years of their working career to clear off this education loan. Thereby, your burden is transferred to your children. Many parents are highly emotional. They want to give everything to their children. They think, like the way we suffered in life, like the way we had our tough times in our life, our children should not have that kind of a suffering, that kind of difficulties in life. This is what the parents think. Stop for a while and think. Because you suffered in life, because you have come from a humble background, because you had a meager savings or a lower type of living during your childhood days, did it prevent you coming up in life? You think your children should not have this, but this very thinking that our children should not have difficulties itself is putting your children into difficulties. Help children conquer that fears. When there is something shortage in your children's life, it creates a craving in them, it creates a desire in them to excel. If a kite has to fly, you can't let loose the string continuously, you have to pull down the string. That's where the kite flies. Your children's life cannot be something different. Make them more responsible. Let's imagine for a while, there are countless children who do not have parents. Do you mean to say that these children cannot get educated? They get education loan, they will work somewhere, they will accumulate money. If they have a desire, if they have a passion, they come up in life. Coming up in life has nothing to do with extra care a parent has to give. Coming up in life is a function of craving that is there in your child, a desire to excel, a passion to pursue. These are the things which will make your child successful in life. Money is one aspect of it. Moral character is the second aspect of it. Identifying the passion in a child, giving it a direction is more important. It's just not the money will solve all the particular things that a child needs. Prepare your child to be very successful in life, and taking this education loan, telling the child probably from high school period onwards that it is a loan that you have to take and study. Identify your passion, what you want to become. Identify the institute where you want to go and study. Put your best efforts, and I will stand as a guarantor for your loan. But the responsibility of clearing the loan is that of the child. This point has to be driven home clearly in the minds of your children. That makes them responsible. You can take this one another step. You can start giving them some small amounts of money. Open a minor account, maybe in a mutual fund, maybe in a bank account. Start giving that money. Ask them to deposit there. Let them manage their accounts on their own, or at least let them see how their money is growing and how it is accumulating. And that will develop a sense of discipline in your children. And you can tell them, use this money, grow this money under my care, and when it is time to pay back this education loan, the interest portion or the principal portion, you can make use of this particular money as well as the earnings that you get from your salary. Thereby you prepare your children to be very, very successful in life. If you try to take all the burden on yourself, unless you are a person who has a very fat salary, very small portion of people will have, not everyone will have, not every section of the society can have. Whereas the parenting responsibility can be done by every member. They can identify the passion, they can inculcate a sense of discipline in the case of children, and giving them a pep talk, giving them a moral education. It does not require money. Thereby you prepare your children to be successful in life. So dear parent, if you are in conflict, I have a limited resources of money, which one should I do, my retirement planning or my education planning? My suggestion to you all is, do the retirement planning first, and believe education loan is the new way of funding your children's education cost. That is the one which will help you, that is the one which will help your children to be successful in life. You may get one doubt in your mind. The doubt is that if that is the case, should I not allocate any funds for funding children's education cost? You can do that. It's not that I am telling that you must not do it. If you have reasonable amount of resources, you can allocate that, please do. But in spite of that, you should think about taking education loan for the problems that I discussed with you. Keeping your children in a disciplined way, making sure that the money that they get when they get an employment is productively used, it is not wasted in a trading ring or getting into wrong habits in life. All these things can be solved by taking an education loan. What happens to the money that you have kept aside in case if you are taking an education loan? It will serve multiple purpose. If your child becomes very responsible and if it has got good salary, it can pay off its loan. This money you can use it for any other purpose, including your retirement purpose. But unfortunately, if your child did not get a proper job, or if it does not have enough savings, then you can use this money to pay off the education loan. Likewise, the education loans, government have got soft loan system. That means they will not give you an education loan with compounding interest. During the study period, it will come with a simple interest. That means there is no compounding effect. If you have saved some amount of money, you can use this saved money to pay off the interest at periodical intervals of time. Thereby, it will not unnecessarily compound a lot at the time of payment. That can be done about, or just because it's a simple interest, you know that your investments in a mutual fund can easily get you 8, 12, and if luck is in your favor, maybe more than 12% returns also. So if you are paying a lesser amount of interest on an education loan, this can become an arbitrage. That means you have borrowed at lesser cost and you are getting a higher rate of return, which either you can square it off for the education loan at future point of time in case if your child is not able to shell down the money, or you can use it for any other purpose. So it can serve as an opportunity also for you. Likewise, if your child is able to pay a portion of the money, the rest of the money can be funded from the amount that you have set aside. Nevertheless, you should open up your mind. You should talk to your child, you should talk to your spouse, and mentally be prepared to take an education loan for funding of children's education costs. Probably, I have no hesitation to say this is the right way the future will unfold itself for the education funding. Dear viewers, you could be wondering, what do I do for my living? I am a person who help people invest wisely. I am a person who will help people invest in safe instruments. I help people reach their life goals. I help people build required funds for their retirement, education funding, or any other life goals. I have a team of experts. I have a team of professionals who assist us in this exercise. If you want professional assistance to invest wisely, safely, reach goals, then you can make best use of my services as well. Our number is shown here on the screen. Through a WhatsApp message from any corner of the world, you can send us the message, and my team of experts are ever ready to help you. If you have an intention, do not delay, send that message now. Dear viewers, hope the video that I have done today helped you to understand why you should open up to the concept of taking an education loan for funding of education costs. If it did help you to understand the finer points around it, please do like this video. Do not forget to share this video with your near and dear ones. Thank you very much for watching this episode on NRI Money Clinic. I shall be back with you next Friday with yet another edition of Your Life, Your Money. Till then, stay safe.
Press the bell icon for more details and subscribe our channel.